Hello guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video we'll talk about the third part of Bleach and why I consider it the most important part of the second season. First of all, I wish that the second season of Bleach had more than 50 episodes. I mean, let's say 70 episodes, or let's say between 60 and 70. It would have been the ideal number for a smooth adaptation without the need of putting a lot of chapters in one episode. But I understand the situation. I understand that such matters are not given by wishes, but rather several things that has something to do with the production and the budget. And I say this because in the beginning, I wasn't a fan of this adaptation policy that the studio followed, and I think maybe I'm the only one who expressed my opinion on this subject, because I have seen that adapting 5 chapters for each episode is not something good. That's why I wished if the anime has more than 50 episodes. Why I'm saying this? Because with that number they can adapt the events of the first invasion and also the beginning of the second invasion with a good pacing, and also they will add whatever they want for the upcoming events. But as I said, I have understood the situation. That's why I didn't focus much about this problem in the second core, because I said, alright, they have only 52 episodes. If they're doing this for the sake of adding new content, like the flashback of Ichibi that we have seen recently, alright, it's not a big problem. That's why the next core, the next part, this problem of pacing, adaptation, it will be gone forever. We will not talk anymore about how much this episode will adapt, because there are simply 76 chapters left for this arc. And logically, 76 chapters are not enough for the next 26 episodes, if we take into account that the third and the fourth parts will each consist of 13 episodes. In other words, the studio will determine a starting point A, for example, and it would be the end of the battle of Yhwach in Ichibi and the death of Ryu, and this happened I think in chapter 610. And point B, which will be the end of the third part, and it could be the battle of Kyorako and Lilibaro. So that between point A and B, the studio will add new additions and new events, so that if we consider that the third part will adapt for point E to B, then we're talking about almost 36 chapters, out of them 16 new chapters from Kubo and the studio. So we're talking about like 4 chapters for each episode. Of course this number may increase or decrease, but what is certain is that in the third part we will talk about additions that are measured in chapters and not in seconds like the first part, or in 2 or 3 minutes like what happened in the second part. No, the next part will witness major additions, and therefore the problem of adapting or saying no, this episode adapted 5 chapters or 6 chapters will be gone forever. The mystery now is what kind of additions we're gonna see in this part, and how they will mix it with what already exists in the manga, and how they will link it to the events of the fourth part, which is the end. Therefore, this task is difficult, because this time the studio will not deal with good animation or the events of the manga, but now they must also think about writing and preparing new events and fights with Kubo. It is true that they have done this and they finished writing the third part, and Kubo spoke about this matter and he didn't hide his tension, because the story of the arc began to move towards the climax. That's why I say the third part is the most important, because it's the pavement for the end. And this leads me to talk about what are the possible additions that could play a role in giving a new flavor to the upcoming events. In terms of characters, I don't think there is a problem with this matter, because we were originally talking about that some characters need more appearance, and it didn't have that in the manga. For example, Isshin and Ryukin, although I think their role may be greater in the fourth part, but there are other characters who have a solid connection to the events of the third part, and they are Ukitake and Aizen. Kubo previously spoke about the fact that there will be additions to Ukitake regarding Mimihagi, and I think this is a very good topic for Kubo to delve into. For example, we can see a long flashback about little Ukitake and how Mimihagi was found in the Rekongai. As we saw in the flashback of Ichibi, we knew that the left hand was with him, and we knew how it went to Yhwach. Though there is a talk that Mimihagi was also with Ichibi, but there is no official confirmation about this matter, and therefore a long flashback may give us answer about this matter. And speaking about a new fight for Ukitake where he can use the Bankai, frankly, I don't know whether Kubo is capable of doing this move or not. I wish something like that to happen, but I find it difficult. But we have Aizen Sosuke. Aizen Sosuke, I find him to be the most prominent star of this part, especially since his appearance is soon to happen. And we have seen hints of that in the end of the second part when Kurako went to room 46 to ask permission to check out Aizen Sosuke. And I think that many, including myself, believed that Aizen Sosuke didn't take his sufficient role in the final arc, I mean the Quincy arc. It's true that he participated in the final battle, but Aizen needed more shining, and I think this is what might happen to him in this part. And so more additions to Aizen Sosuke, I don't think anyone would mind such additions. And there is something else. Why don't we see a side mission for Grimijo and Nail where they go to rescue Hallibel? And there we see some fights for them. It is true that Nail and Grimijo will be linked to the fight of Urahara, Kisuke and Askin, but I think this fight will most likely take place in the fourth part. Therefore, if something like this happens, to see Grimijo and Nail have a mission to save Hallibel, that would be something very good. I would like to see some fights for them both. In the end, I would like to talk about something important. I appreciate the work of the studio and the staff that is supervised in the second season, but honestly, I hope that what some of them say happen in reality and not in the interviews. Because before the start of the second part, they were talking about the level of animation being better than the first part. But what many noticed is that the level of the second part was not really that great as was said. And I don't think there is an episode in this part that has reached the level of episode 6 or 7. And personally, I don't care about the animation at all, but rather about the story, and I have just said that. But everyone noticed that there were problems in the production, and the evidence is what happened in the last episode, and those 4 minutes that were added. It is clear that 6 months between the first and the second part are not enough. Therefore, I hope the producers allow the studio to take more time in preparing the third part. I also hope that some fans do not exaggerate in talking about the level of animation before the release. I remember how some people started talking about that Busby and Toshiro's fight was on the same level as the fight of Yohabach and Ichigo, and things like that. We all love Bleach. Just let the studio work hard to produce a better level than before. When the episodes are released, then everyone can express their opinion with respect. Therefore, I hope that the fans will become aware of the importance of objective discussion and make some room for all opinions in a framework of respect. That's why I hope the next part will be the part in which Kubo will fix what he wanted to happen in the manga, and I hope there will be also beautiful and good fights in terms of animation. So guys, tell me your expectations of the next part and see you in my next video.